Have you ever wondered what the secret is to truly aging well? We've all heard the common advice: stay active, keep moving, and never slow down. But what if I told you that moving less could actually be the key to feeling better and living longer, especially after the age of 70? In today's video, we're going to explore 3 simple yet powerful practices that have helped countless people transform how they experience their golden years. These aren't the typical aging tips you've heard before. In fact, the third one might be the answer you've been searching for. I promise it's going to change the way you approach aging. Stick with me until the end, because not only will you discover the secret to more energy, but you'll also learn how to find deeper satisfaction in your everyday life, no matter your age. Before we begin, I would really appreciate it if you liked this video. It helps me continue to spread these valuable lessons. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you won't miss any future videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1 below. If you don't, comment 0 to let me know so I can improve and create better content for you. Now, let's dive in. One of the most important practices to embrace is the art of mindful rest. Let me share something with you that truly shifted my perspective on wellness. A few months ago, I met David, a 75-year-old former marathon runner, at a local community center in Chicago. David's story made me realize just how essential it is to find balance in life, especially when it comes to activity and rest. He said to me, "I spent my whole life believing that more movement meant better health. Now I know better." His words stayed with me, and here's why. David had always prided himself on being the most active person in his retirement community. His days were packed with movement, morning runs, afternoon tennis matches, and evening walks. He was always on the go, convinced that the more he moved, the healthier he would be. But despite his rigorous exercise routine, David began to feel that something wasn't quite right. He found himself constantly exhausted, his joints ached, and surprisingly, his blood pressure began to rise. It was a wake-up call. Then, an unexpected injury forced David to slow down. That's when he stumbled upon what he calls his golden formula, the art of mindful rest. At first, the idea of resting felt counterintuitive to him. After all, he had spent his life believing that constant activity was the key to good health. But after being forced to step back, David learned that rest isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing less, but doing it with intention and purpose. And he's not the only one who's discovered the benefits of slowing down. Dr. Sarah Johnson, a leading expert on aging who spent over 20 years studying the effects of rest at the Mayo Clinic, recently conducted groundbreaking research. She found that older adults who practice what she calls strategic rest actually experience better health outcomes than those who stay on the go all the time. It's about quality over quantity, she explains. After the age of 70, your body requires more recovery time. It's not laziness, it's smart care for your body. This research has been a revelation, especially for those of us who may have been raised to believe that more is always better. So, how does David's mindful rest look in practice? Well, he begins every morning with what he calls his morning mindful moments. Instead of rushing into his usual activities, David sets aside 15 minutes each morning to sit quietly on his porch, sipping his coffee and simply watching the world around him come alive. It may sound simple, but there's a profound shift that happens in these moments of stillness. He chuckles and says, "I used to think this was wasting time. Now I know it's what gives me the energy I need for the whole day." Throughout the rest of his day, David incorporates what experts refer to as strategic rest periods. These aren't naps, though taking short naps is also beneficial, but intentional pauses between activities. For instance, after running errands, he might sit for 10 minutes focusing on his breathing or simply enjoying a moment of stillness before diving into the next task. Think of these pauses as a reset button for your mind and body. They're designed to restore your energy, allowing you to move through your day with more vitality. The impact of mindful rest on David's life has been remarkable. Since incorporating these restful practices, His sleep has significantly improved, his blood pressure has normalized, and he feels more energized overall. He can still play tennis and other sports, but now he finds himself playing better, with more energy and a renewed appreciation for the game. I'm not just doing more, David reflects. I'm doing it better because I'm well rested. Now, let's try something together. If you're able, take a deep breath with me. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Feel how your body rests against your chair or couch. Take a moment to notice the sensation of stillness. This brief pause, this moment of rest, isn't about doing nothing. It's about giving your mind and body the time they need to reset. It's a gift you're giving yourself. Here's the thing. Rest isn't the opposite of activity. It's actually what makes meaningful activity possible. Think about it. When you're well rested, don't you find that everything else becomes easier? Your movements feel more graceful, your mind is clearer, and you start to actually enjoy what you're doing rather than just pushing through it. That's the power of rest. It doesn't just restore your body, it enhances everything you do. Dr. Johnson's research reveals something particularly fascinating. People who incorporate mindful rest into their daily lives report a 40% increase in their energy levels. But that's not all. They also show marked improvements in balance, cognitive function, and even in their social connections. Why? Because when you're not exhausted, you're more present, more engaged, and more connected to the people and activities around you. You're able to show up in your life fully. So what does this mean for you? If you're looking to try this for yourself, start small. Tomorrow morning, before jumping into the hustle of your day, take just 5 minutes to sit quietly. Don't plan, don't worry, just be. See how it feels to embrace stillness. Notice how different your morning is when you begin with that small moment of intentional rest. This is your first step toward mastering the art of mindful rest. And remember, doing less doesn't mean giving up on life. It means making your activities more purposeful and intentional. As David so wisely puts it, I'm not doing less with my life. I'm living more by doing less. But that's not all. Let me share something even more surprising about how mindful rest connects to finding joy in the smallest moments of life. Stay with me, because this is where it gets even more fascinating. If you're still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know. Thank you for your valuable time. Have you ever stopped to consider what happens when you take the time to slow down and truly notice the little things around you? It's almost like stepping off the treadmill of constant motion, taking a deep breath, and allowing yourself to pause for a moment. When we rush through life, we often find ourselves so fixated on the bigger goals and the grand achievements that we miss the simple joys that are hidden in the quiet moments of everyday life. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly, a story about a woman named Linda from Denver. Linda spent the majority of her life as a high-powered executive, always driven by the desire to do more, be more, and achieve more. She was always on the move, planning her next challenge, and after retiring at 73, she couldn't quite shake the habit of filling her days with grand plans. "I thought I needed big moments to feel fulfilled," she told me with a gentle laugh, her eyes sparkling with the wisdom of someone who had learned a powerful lesson. Linda's shift began when she started a small garden on her patio. It wasn't a massive landscaping project, just a few pots of herbs and flowers. At first, she didn't think much of it. It seemed too small, too insignificant to really matter. But over time, something unexpected started to happen. Every morning, as she watered her plants, Linda began noticing things she'd never paid attention to before. She noticed how the sunlight danced on the dew-covered leaves, the way the plants swayed gently in the breeze, and how they seemed to stretch toward the sun. It was as if a whole new world had opened up right in her own backyard. She calls these small moments of beauty her happiness anchors now, and they brought her a sense of joy that had always eluded her while chasing bigger, more significant goals. That joy wasn't fleeting either, unlike the satisfaction she used to feel after achieving a major milestone. Research from the Positive Aging Project revealed a fascinating finding. People over the age of 70 who find joy in the simple daily experiences report 60% higher life satisfaction than those who are constantly chasing grand achievements. The real richness in life, it turns out, doesn't lie in the big, shiny moments. It's hidden in the small, everyday pleasures we so often overlook. So how can we start to experience this joy for ourselves? Linda, who has transformed her life by noticing the beauty in simple moments, shared a few practices with me that have completely changed the way she sees the world, and I think they could do the same for you. First, there's what Linda calls the morning marvel. Every day, before rushing off to start the busy day ahead, take a moment to find something small that captures your attention. It could be the warmth of sunlight spilling across your pillow, the aroma of your morning coffee, or the soft chirp of birds outside your window. Whatever it is, just stop and notice it. Don't rush past it. Fully appreciate it. It may surprise you how such a simple practice can bring peace and contentment into your day. Next, practice what I like to call sensory moments. Throughout the day, take a little pause to tune into one of your senses. Feel the texture of your favorite sweater, inhale the crisp air after a rain, or listen to the quiet hum of your home. These aren't just simple observations, they're gateways to joy. It's about fully engaging with the world around you in a way that invites gratitude and appreciation, not action. Finally, create what Linda calls connection spots. These are small, intentional moments of connection, either with others or with yourself, that you make part of your routine. Maybe it's a daily phone call with a friend while sipping your tea, or a weekly visit to a local coffee shop where the barista knows your name. These connection spots aren't about staying busy. They're about being present and fostering a sense of belonging. What's truly remarkable about these practices is that they don't just make us feel good, they also change how our brains work. Dr. Robert Lewis, a leading researcher at the Center for Aging Studies, found that people who regularly notice and appreciate small pleasures report better mood and memory. They even have stronger immune systems. The practice of focusing on simple joys not only enriches our emotional and mental well-being, but improves our physical health as well. So let's take a moment right now to try this out. Look around you. Is there something small you can see that brings you a bit of joy? Maybe it's a photo of a loved one, the warmth of a cozy chair, or the way light filters through the window. Don't just glance at it. Notice it. Appreciate it. Let the joy it brings wash over you. These moments might seem tiny, but in reality, they hold the power to transform your day and your outlook on life. Linda now says that her happiest moments aren't the big events she used to chase after. They're in her morning garden ritual, in the quiet joy of tasting fresh herbs she grew herself, and in the friendly waves from neighbors who pass by. I used to think joy was something you had to pursue, she says. But now I know it's something you simply need to notice. And the best part? These practices are accessible to everyone. You don't need special equipment, a large budget, or even a lot of time. All you need is the willingness to slow down, open your eyes, and embrace the simple pleasures that are already present in your life. Before we dive into our third practice, which beautifully complements the ones we've discussed, let me ask you, what small joy have you noticed today? Perhaps it's something you usually take for granted, something so simple yet so profound once you stop and truly appreciate it. Let that be the starting point for finding deeper satisfaction in your life. If you're still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're still with me. I truly appreciate your time. Let me take you to a cozy, tucked-away coffee shop in Boston, where I had the privilege of meeting Bob, an 84-year-old man who completely changed the way I think about gratitude and the little moments that make life truly rich. Every single morning, precisely at 7 a.m., Bob can be found sitting at his regular table by the window, sipping his coffee in quiet contemplation and scribbling in a small, well-worn notebook. There's a certain peace about him, an air of contentment that draws people in, yet it's his simple morning ritual that holds the true secret to his joy. One morning, as he slid his notebook across the table with a twinkle in his eye, Bob asked me, Want to know what makes life truly rich? The pages of the notebook weren't filled with grandiose goals or a list of life-changing adventures. Instead, they held the simplest of notes, each one infused with a profound sense of gratitude. One entry read, "Today's coffee tastes especially good." Another said, "Sarah called. Her voice always makes me smile." There was even a note that simply said, "Watch the sunrise. Reminded me how lucky I am to see another day." What Bob had discovered over the years wasn't just a sense of gratitude. It was a whole new way of experiencing life, a way of being fully present in the small, seemingly insignificant moments that most of us tend to overlook. When you're younger, he told me, you're always looking ahead to the next big thing, the next promotion, the next vacation, the next milestone. But at my age, I've learned that the real treasure is in appreciating what's already here, what's already good. It was a reminder that the pursuit of happiness often takes us further from it, while contentment lies in appreciating the present exactly as it is. What's fascinating is that this mindset isn't just a feel-good notion. It's backed by science. Recent studies have shown that people who practice gratitude regularly tend to have stronger immune systems, better heart health, and even sleep better at night. But here's the twist. It's not about forcing yourself to feel thankful for everything in your life. It's about noticing what already brings you joy, what already makes you smile, even on the toughest of days. Bob's morning ritual is beautifully simple. Before even opening his notebook, he takes 3 slow, intentional sips of his coffee. With each sip, he pauses and reflects on one thing he's grateful for. These aren't monumental moments, but small everyday occurrences, like the warmth of the cup in his hands, the rich aroma of the coffee, or the quiet peace of the early morning. Sometimes he chuckles to himself and says, "I'm just grateful for this coffee." There's no need for grand gestures or dramatic shifts, just a daily practice of noticing what's right in front of you. Now, here's something that has truly transformed the lives of many people I've shared it with: the evening gratitude ritual. Before you go to bed each night, take a few quiet moments to reflect on 3 things, tiny things, that made you smile during your day. Maybe it was the warmth of the sun on your face, the comfort of a cozy chair, or a kind word from a colleague. It doesn't matter how big or small the moment was. Just acknowledge it. Simply say, "That made my day a little brighter," and let that feeling fill your heart for a moment. That's all it takes. Bob also taught me about something he calls gratitude connections. Every time he talks to his children or grandchildren, he makes it a point to mention one specific thing he appreciates about them. Not just a simple "I love you," but something specific and heartfelt, like, "I love how you always remember to call on Sundays," or "Your laugh reminds me of your mother." Bob has found that these specific expressions of gratitude deepen his relationships in ways that words alone never could. It's a reminder that the little things we do for one another can make the biggest impact. Here's something we can try together right now. Take a deep breath and think of one person who adds something positive to your life. Maybe it's the mailman who always greets you with a smile, or the neighbor who waves hello every time they see you. Just hold that person in your thoughts for a moment and feel grateful for their presence in your life. You may be surprised by how much this simple act shifts your perspective. Do you know what's truly beautiful about gratitude? It grows. It's like planting seeds in your heart that bloom more and more with each passing day. Bob tells me that since he began his morning ritual, he started noticing more and more things to be grateful for, little treasures that were always there waiting to be seen. It's like training your eyes to see treasure, he says. Once you start looking for it, you find it everywhere. And that's the magic of it. When you start paying attention to the good in your life, you'll see more of it, and it will begin to fill your days with light. The community at Bob's coffee shop has noticed the change in him. Other regulars started asking about his notebook, and now there's a small group that meets weekly to share their gratitude moments. They affectionately call themselves the Grateful Hearts Club, and while Bob laughs at how cheesy it sounds, he's seen firsthand how powerful it is. The simple act of sharing gratitude has created a small, tight-knit community where people support each other through both the good times and the tough ones. It works, he says with a smile. You just have to try it. Some mornings, Bob admits, it's harder to find things to be grateful for. There are days when the clouds feel a little heavier and when life feels a little more overwhelming. But he's learned over time that even on those days, there's usually something, whether it's the comfort of a familiar routine, the kindness of a stranger, or simply the gift of another day to experience life. Even on the hard days, he says, gratitude can be a quiet but powerful companion. Remember Margaret, who we met earlier? She recently joined Bob's morning coffee group, and between moving more slowly, finding joy in the simple things, and practicing gratitude, she says, I've never felt more alive. It's a beautiful reminder that no matter our age, stage of life, or circumstances, there's always room for more gratitude and connection. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. Think about your day so far. What's one small thing you could write in your gratitude notebook? It doesn't have to be big or important, just real, just true. Maybe it was a moment of laughter, a kind gesture, or the comfort of your favorite mug in your hands. Whatever it is, take a moment to acknowledge it. That's the beauty of gratitude. It's always available, always present, and always ready to be noticed. I hope today's video has given you some fresh insights on how to embrace a more balanced and fulfilling approach to aging. So, what have you learned so far? Is it the power of mindful rest, the joy in simple moments, or the practice of gratitude? I'd love to hear from you. Comment below with one thing you've learned and plan to bring into your own life. If you liked this video, please leave a comment below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more transformative content. Let's continue this journey together. Take care of yourself and I'll see you in the next video.